Hello and welcome to the FilmPulse.net podcast. This is episode number 86. My name is Adam. With me today we have Ernie. How are you? Ernie.
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Today we have a bit of a shorter show lined up. First we'll be going over some of what we've been watching before getting into a feature review of Ron Howard's Rush. And finally we'll be going over this week's movie predictions, new on video on demand, and DVD and Blu Ray releases. First up, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. Ernie, we'll start it with you this week.
This week I've been doing a little independent circuit and wide releases. My review's online, but I saw Journey to Mount Fuji. Don't really want to go into that, otherwise I'll get a little more irritated. But you can read the review after reading it, then decide if you want to watch it or not. Just be aware that if you sit there, you're going to be like, what the hell is going on here? And why am I watching this?
Looked like a bit of an experimental film. It's based on a manga, right?
I don't know. I actually tried to look that up, and all I found was information of a series of shorts that the same team put together prior to making the feature.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it was. I was pretty sure that they mentioned something about a manga to me.
It's possible, but I found it funny that the context of the movie I didn't discover until I read the synopsis of the shorts. Like, oh, is that what that was supposed to be? Like, that didn't come through pretty clear. But then again, I might be wrong, and it might be something else entirely. My review is also on the site, Don Jon, which I enjoyed.
I was trying to see that this weekend so we could do 2 reviews, but I didn't get around to it. I'll probably see it today. But so you did enjoy Don Jon? Yeah.
For a directorial debut for comedy, this was actually pretty assured. He was good. He's got some decent performances here and there. And I mentioned in the review that there's some repetitiveness, but it does serve a purpose. But just overall, it's nothing like the laugh out loud funny movie of the year, but a decent comedy about sex and relationships. And I'm sure there's many people can relate to in some way without admitting to it. Because their stuff is like, oh, awkward. I think I've been in that situation.
And that's playing wide release right now too.
Yeah, it did go wide this weekend. I'm surprised. I thought that was the kind of movie that would go limited first and then wide.
Same here.
And then I saw Escape from Tomorrow yesterday.
Oh, yes.
That review is forthcoming. It's definitely one not to discuss too much. Just basically the setup is a father's at Disneyland, Walt Disney World in Orlando. And on the last day that they're there, he finds out he was just fired from his job. And so in order to escape from his world, he wants to spend one last good day in Disney World with his family, and then things just start going wrong. And I'll just leave it at that.
Now, this is one that we've been covering a lot on the site because I'm really into this story. And I know that this is really the only reason anybody's talking about it is because they shot this entire movie in Disney World and Epcot, I think, without any permission from Disney at all. And it was all done like guerrilla style. Mm-hmm. Like, judging from the trailer, it looks like it's like a full-blown feature-length movie. Can you tell at all that there are things about it that they might have had to do quickly, or is it evident that they...
The only time it's evident is there are some shots where they had to use blue screen that are pretty obvious when you see them. But overall, the shots where they actually filmed in Disney World, it seems pretty natural. It's just thinking of it on a production end. You can basically just see how it looks like it's just somebody just standing there filming a family.
It's funny because everybody, this premiered at Sundance, and everybody was like, well, this movie's really interesting, but there's no way it's ever going to get released because Disney simply won't allow it to happen. But they did allow it to happen, and I think that their reasoning was like, we just don't care. It's a small enough movie that we don't think that a lot of people are going to see it, and we're not going to be bothered by something like this.
Yeah, it doesn't paint the company or the park in a bad light at all. I mean, in fact, after seeing it, it's like makes me want to I want to go back to Disney World. I haven't been there in like 10 years.
Hmm.
So that might be a plus, but they're just like, and there's like all kinds of things that go on in there that would seem that's kind of dark in
Hmm.
terms of Disney, but maybe they're just kind of like the idea of letting it go along with the mythology of the park and the enigma of the park.
And they don't make any like they don't try to hide it at all that it's Disney World, right? Do they
Oh
do
no,
they do they outright say the name in the movie?
yeah, they do say the names, they do say the name of the parks and the rides and whatnot. The only thing that is different is they can't use the music.
Uh
There's a point where they're on. It's a small world, and there's the music that is used is in the same ballpark as It's a Small World, but not It's a Small World. So, but you notice that when you hear that, then you notice that when they go to other parks, other parts of the park, like the Tiki Room, or and you like listen to the music. It's like, yeah, that doesn't sound like the exact music, but
and I also did hear that it did get cut. There were 15 minutes of the film cut out from the original cut that screened at Sundance. So I'm really wondering what if it's clear and they're not making any, they're not trying to hide the fact that it's Disney. I'm wondering what they actually cut out from the movie.
yeah. Well, you see the trademarks, the logos, Mickey Mouse, characters and whatnot, but
And I
But
think that
yeah,
that
they really, yeah, you really don't hide. They don't hide the name at all. So
that's cool.
they even use Walt's name at one point. So
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely excited to see that. So I think that comes out in theaters and on video on demand
on the 11th, I
the
think.
11th. Yeah, you're right.
And one other thing I saw was after Tiller, the pro-choice abortion documentary, which was some pretty powerful stuff.
That was
I think that's in limited release right now.
yeah, that is. So that's focuses on late term abortion, right?
Yeah, yeah, third trimester or third semester, 20, I think 27 weeks forward or something like that,
Mm,
which is like pretty like unconscionable to think of. But when you see the documentary, you clearly see the reasons why it's necessary. And it's like when I was writing my review, I was trying to be very, very careful about not pushing for
right.
my opinion. So I was just stating what the facts are and how it paints this group, the pro-lifers, in a bad light because of what they did. So I'm like, oh well, that's all they need to know. It's like, but yeah, it was like pretty rough stuff.
I think that is. I don't think that has a video on demand release date as of yet, but I'm sure that it'll be out on VOD at some point relatively soon. I would imagine.
Early this week, after I saw Grandmaster a while ago, I decided to check out Ip Man,
Hmm.
the first one with Donnie Yen,
I saw the first
and
one.
it was pretty good. Had some really good fights, and it was interesting how two different vantage points of the same man, but fantastical.
Hmm.
There hasn't, I think, a traditional straight up movie about this man because it's always like embellishing in the martial arts aspect of it. But I'm like, okay, that was some cool fights, but you don't really know who the man is yet.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Donnie Yen. I wasn't too into the first Ip Man. I didn't see the second one because of that.
Mhm.
And I know that there is a third one too, but it doesn't star Donnie Yen, I don't think.
Yeah, yeah. The third one actually just opened out here, and unfortunately, it's already gone. So I totally missed it. But I think Donnie Yen said after two, he wanted to do those two, didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, so which one would you prefer, the Grandmaster over Ip Man?
I guess it depends on how your which part of martial arts films do you prefer? Do you want the Crouching Tiger style, or do you want the straight up like Jet Li
Mm-hmm.
style? So if you want the Crouching Tiger, you go with Grandmaster. If you want Jet Li, you go with Ip Man.
I do want
So
to see the Grandmaster. I didn't get a chance to see it when it was playing around here, but I'm also curious to see the original cut of the film because I heard that it's a lot different.
yeah, I didn't hear about that until after the fact. So I'm wondering if they're ever going to release that on video. But I guess that's up to the Weinsteins. So which probably means we
Something
won't.
something tells me no.
Yeah.
But you can import the original cut now on Blu-ray.
Oh,
So it is available that you can get it, but I think it's pretty expensive.
off it on one other one, and I highly recommend this to you. is the Crystal Lake Memories documentary.
I want to see that.
It came out on Blu-ray, DVD on the 13th.
Did it?
Yep, yep. It's 7+ hours. Well, 12 hours probably with the bonus disc of everything you ever wanted to know about the Friday the 13th franchise. It's probably, if you ever saw the Never Sleep Again documentary about Elm Street.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which I thought was like one of the best produced franchise documentaries ever. This one is like twice as much better. There's like so much that they talk about in the film that I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And they have countless alumni come back to discuss. So it was like, oh, so it was like that's how they look now. It was like,
that must explain, because I was looking for that on like iTunes and Amazon and stuff, and I couldn't find it like streaming to rent.
Mm-hmm.
And it must be because I didn't know that it was that long.
Yeah, it's a 2-disc set, and like parts 1 through 5 are covered on disc 1, and then parts 6 through 12 are covered on disc 2.
Wow.
So, and it also goes into the TV show, and
the TV show too.
And then yeah, it's just a chronological history of the entire franchise from beginning to where they left off. So it's like a really fascinating documentary, and it's like it goes into all kinds of stuff where like, yeah, we originally had intended to go this way with Tommy Jarvis, and then 5 bombed, and then we got a mandate from the studio that they want Jason back, so we had to abandon the storylines. So, because they had every intention of having Tommy Jarvis carry on as the killer, and cast members signed on to continue the parts, but like, nope, not
I'm
gonna
gonna have to pick that up.
So yeah, definitely pick that up, and if you're crazy enough, you can watch it in one day, but it took me 2 days. So.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to sit through the whole thing at once.
So that's pretty much all I watched. Besides playing Grand Theft Auto.
Well, actually, I've been playing Grand Theft Auto nonstop too, but I did have time to see quite a few movies this week. I saw, first up, I saw In My Skin, which is a movie from 2002. This is directed by Marina Devan, who we interviewed last week for her new movie Dark Touch. And I wanted to see this in preparation for the interview, which we did on Monday. So this movie disturbed me to my core. It's a body horror film, and for some reason, like a lot of these body horror movies just really get under my skin. No pun intended.
Like not torture porn, but like Tetsuo or something like that. Or...
Yeah, like Cronenberg, like early Cronenberg.
Okay.
Even Brandon Cronenberg's Antiviral, like that body horror stuff. I think was one that I saw recently. Excision was one that I saw recently that was a newer one. But this movie, basically, it's about a woman who sustains an injury at a party. She's outside in someone's yard walking, and there's like some construction going on, and she cuts her leg really bad on a piece of metal. And it kind of sparks this like weird obsession that she gets with injuring herself. And it's like more than just her becoming a cutter. So like, it's not that she's like cutting herself for attention, I don't think. It's just this really odd obsession that she gets where she starts cutting herself and cutting pieces of her skin off and eating it.
Oh.
She's essentially eating herself. And it is... Some of the scenes are so cringeworthy, I had to look away. And it's so intense. Like, if you're into the kind of horror where it's, like, almost unwatchable because it is just so tense, like, this is one to check out.
Is it black and white or color?
It's color.
Oh, then that must make it great.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's... I don't want to talk too much about it because I feel like some of the things that happen should be a surprise where you're just like, because I kind of went into it cold. I knew the general plot, but I didn't know any specifics, so I don't want to get into any specifics about it because some of it is just so shocking when you see it. It's crazy. So I do recommend it. I actually liked it quite a lot more than Dark Touch, and we do have a review for Dark Touch up on the site now. I think Todd gave it a 5 out of 10. So, it's called In My Skin. It's a French film, so I'd say definitely check that out.
Cool.
Next up, I saw Curse of Chucky. This is the This is the
I,
new Child's Play
I didn't
movie.
realize I was out already.
Yep. This is kind of a return to form for the Child's Play series. Now, a lot of people that I talk to don't like the Child's Play series to begin with. I
Hmm.
think that they too easily dismiss this series. I think that there's a lot to like about the original 3 Child's Play movies that people just don't don't recognize, maybe because they saw the movies when they were younger
Hmm.
or haven't seen them recently, but they're pretty solid horror movies. And with this one, they got away from all the comedy aspects that were in the last 2,
Right.
Bride and Seed, and they go just straight. It's just straight horror, and they use no CG. There is some CG that they use, but the Chucky effects are almost all animatronic or like a little person in a suit,
Hmm.
and that looks great. Like the animatronics in this look better than any of the other ones. It looks really good.
Cool.
The cinematography is actually really good too, which is a big surprise. There's a lot of really good slow motion in it and stuff. And there's a lot of interesting things they do with the story. Like the main character of the film is in a wheelchair. So
Huh.
she has that kind of. Because one of the big things about Chucky is like, he's a doll. Why can't you just get away from him? Because he's a doll, you know?
Right.
And when you're confined to a wheelchair, it makes it a little bit harder to get away from this evil doll.
Hmm.
And so it's a light recommend, I would say. If you liked any of the original Child's Play movies, you should definitely check this out. There are many downsides to this movie. There's really bad use of technology in it. And this is something that's just a nitpick, but it really irks me when I see a movie that has someone using a computer or a phone and it looks really fake on the screen. Like that just bothers me so much. And anytime that they use a computer or a cell phone in this movie, it looks so bad. And I just don't understand that. But and the acting is pretty shitty and the story is pretty bad too. They tie I thought that this was going to be a reboot of sorts, but
I think they originally were planning on doing a reboot.
yeah, it is. It's not. It is a straight up sequel. It's tied into the originals, and it's also tied into the Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. So it is well within.
So,
It's well within the universe.
so it's like the Fast and Furious franchise of horror.
Yeah, sort of.
Everything ties together.
Yeah, like it's all tied together. Now, a lot of that, a lot of the tie-ins don't happen till the end of the movie. That's like supposed to be a big twist where you're just like, oh, it is part of this.
Hmm.
But and I guess I just gave away somewhat of a spoiler, but I won't say what happens.
Well, I don't know. Knowing that Brad Dourif is Chucky again, that pretty much is a key clue that this is part of the franchise and not something brand new. Because otherwise, it would have been a new voice for Chucky or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that,
Uh,
and he's actually in it too. Like, there's flashback
oh, physically.
scenes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's flashback scenes with him before he turns into Chucky,
Hmm.
which I thought was cool. But they do kind of retell the history. So if you were interested in the backstory of Chucky, more about the backstory, they expand on it a little bit. So it's a very light recommend. I would say if you're in the mood for just some B horror, might be worth checking out. There is some comedy in it, but
Hmm.
for the most part, and I will say that a lot of the effects that they use for Chucky are very creepy. Like this is I think by far the creepiest of all of them because they make him look
Hmm.
so sinister and evil in this one.
Hmm.
But
Cool.
another movie I saw is called On the Job. This is a Filipino movie, and I do have a review for this up on the site. This is playing in limited release right now, directed by Eric Mati, and it's a true story. It tells the true story of these corrupt government officials that they hire inmates to carry out hits. So what they do is they whenever they have a hit that they need to do, they pull these two guys out of prison, have them do the hit, and then put them back in jail. So that they have like completely solid alibi. There's no question that these would be the guys that did it. And it's kind of your typical procedural thriller, but it's done really well. It's shot really well. And there's several twists in it that happen near the end that I didn't see coming. The actual climax of the film I thought was a little underwhelming, but overall I thought that it was a very solid thriller. There is some action in it, but it's pretty sparse. It's a lot more of a crime drama, I would say. But it is definitely worth checking out. It kind of jumps back and forth between the lives of the two men that are hired to do the hits and the FBI or whatever their equivalent of the FBI over there. His role in trying to capture them, and kind of jumps back and forth between the two of them, but definitely worth checking that one out.
Cool. I think that just opened up out here, so
yeah,
have to look for that one.
Yeah, I think it came out on Friday, so it's definitely worth seeing. Then I saw Class of 1984. This is my Grindhouse Weekly pick of the week.
Oh, I haven't seen that in so long.
Yeah, I never saw it. This was usually with my Grindhouse Weekly articles, I try to pick a movie that I never saw before, if I can, just to expand my knowledge of exploitation cinema. And I didn't know it. This is a pure coincidence that that new Michael J. Fox show came out this week.
Right.
And the night that I watched Class of 1984 was the night that show premiered, and Michael J. Fox is in Class of 1984.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, what the
funny.
hell? I mean, it was a pure coincidence too. I had no idea that he was in this. He's really young in it, but he actually gets stabbed in the kidney in this movie.
Oh, not Marty.
Yeah.
I barely remember the movie because it's been several decades since I've seen it.
Oh, I guarantee you, by next week, I'll forget that this movie even exists. I mean,
I think there was a 1984 part 2, and then I know there was a Class of 1999, which I do remember seeing in the theater. But
oh, really? I didn't even know that. I should have done more research. Normally, when I do those articles, I like to watch everything in a series before I write about it, but I didn't even know about that.
yeah, Class of 1999 is supposed to be a direct sequel to 84, but it takes place in the future. Well, then it was the future.
Right.
But Class of 84 Part 2, which I may be wrong, that may not exist. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there's one that exists that may have nothing to do with it other than title alone. So
that's how a lot of those were, where they would just use the title and that was it. There was no relation at all. But this one is your pretty typical teen-sploitation movie where it's a gang of
teens versus teachers or something.
Yeah, it was like a gang of unruly students that there's a new teacher in the school and he tries to, reach these kids, but it doesn't work and the consequences are very dire. It's pretty middle of the road. One thing I will say is that the kids in this movie are a hell of a lot more evil than in most movies like this. Like in Dangerous Minds, for instance, like those kids were nowhere near as horrible as the kids in Class of 1984. I mean, the kids in Class of 1984 kidnap the guy's wife and gang rape her and try to kill her. And that's just so much worse than anything in most of these movies I've ever seen.
Well, it was the 80s. I guess in the 90s they got a little more civilized.
Yeah, I think so. So, I don't know. It's pretty middle of the road, pretty mediocre. I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're itching for one of these, like, kind of punk rock 80s movies.
Yeah.
But
that's on Netflix streaming? Or
I don't know. I know you can rent it, but I don't know, like video on demand, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix streaming.
This is one of those things where I just might randomly like browse through and see like, oh, what the hell? I'll
Yeah,
watch it.
I think it's on Amazon for like $2 or something. Then I saw COG, which is the comedy based on the David Sedaris book.
Hmm.
This is on demand right now, and I didn't really like this. I like David Sedaris a lot. I think he's really funny, and I think that he's an extremely funny writer. Like any of his stuff that I'll read, I could be in a bookstore and it'll make me laugh out loud. Like I think that he's just hilarious. But this movie was not very funny, and I don't know if it was necessarily supposed to be. The opening scene was very funny. Basically, it kind of tells the story of his life when he was younger and how he leaves college and goes to work on an apple orchard, sort of to discover himself, I guess. But it kind of fell flat for me. It kind of ends abruptly, and it just wasn't that funny.
Huh.
Again, it was pretty mediocre. I don't really have much to say about it. If you're into
It's
David
funny.
Sedaris, you might like it. That's on demand right now. You can check that out if you're, I would say only if you're really into David Sedaris's stuff. So, and then finally I saw Ain't Them Body Saints. Finally got around to seeing this.
Finally.
Yeah. We'll see. It's tough because I don't have cable. So, and in the on demand, it's only on cable on demand.
Hmm.
So it was hard for me to see it. But at any rate, this is the David Lowery film with Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara and Ben Foster. And I liked it. Like Gina gave it a 10 out of 10 on the
Yeah.
site, which I would not give it a 10 out of 10.
Hmm.
I think I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Right.
And I will say that the cinematography is amazing. I think Bradford Young does the cinematography, and I like his stuff. Kevin talks about him a lot. He's a big fan. And the music was phenomenal in this. I was really blown away with the music.
Hmm.
So it has the look, it has the music, the performances are great, but I was a little underwhelmed with the actual story. I thought it was kind of dull, and
Right.
it just it almost felt too much like a Malick film. It was like
Yeah.
it was like he was trying to make a Malick film, and it was just a little too on the nose for me.
Hmm.
Now you saw this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
I
did
thought
you
it was
think?
good. I gave it about an 8 out of 10. For me, it's been a while since I've seen it, so it's kind of not fresh in my memory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the acting and the look of it, and I was definitely noticing the whole Malick-esque look of it. And I mean, it's one of those ones where if you're not drawn in immediately to the character's plight, then you're probably just going to be distracted and like really not care in the end.
Yeah, and
But
part of me thinks that maybe it was my mindset at the time. Like I was just not in the mindset to to commit to watching something like this. And
yeah, it is definitely one of those movies where you have to be in the right mindset.
yeah, and it's unfortunate. I think that if I maybe rewatch it later, my score might bump up and I might think more highly of it because like I said, the music is phenomenal, the acting, the all the performances across the board are great.
Hmm.
The look of it is good. I mean that this is right up my wheelhouse. I love movies that have this kind of rural, rundown look to it. So
Right.
you would think that everything about it would make me love it, but I don't. I mean, it's still solid, and I still recommend it.
Hmm.
But I just wasn't blown away. Also, I think that maybe my hopes were really high for it, probably too
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
So that might have been a factor as well. But it's still, I mean, if you like Terrence Malick's Badlands, then I would say check it out because it's very similar to Badlands. Like the first 5 minutes of this movie, it's pretty much Badlands. I mean, it even
Mhm.
has like the narration and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but Ain't Them Body Saints playing on video on demand, cable on demand right now. So check that out. That's all I got. So I think we can jump into our review of Rush. You ready for that?
Yep. It's at the metal to the pedal, pedal to the metal, whatever it is.
So, Rush is directed by Ron Howard, written by Peter Morgan. The synopsis is a recreation of the merciless 1970s rivalry between Formula One rivals James Hunt and Niki Lauda. Stars Chris Hemsworth, Daniel Bruhl, Olivia Wilde. Now, you have a review up on the site, so I think that I'll start it off. And I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. I was somewhat excited for it. I like Ron Howard. We talked a little bit about Ron Howard last week on Ryan Watches a Movie because we had him watch Driven in honor of Rush. So we did talk about Ron Howard a little bit. And I do like Ron Howard overall, but as I've gotten older and more cynical, I've liked his stuff a little bit less just because of how it tends to go into the sappy territory, you know, like the Spielberg territory with his stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And this movie does that, but I feel like it doesn't really do it until the very end. So for the most part, I thought that this was great, and I would probably give it like, I don't know, like an 8 out of 10, but there were several things that kind of brought it down for me, but overall, the cinematography in this was one thing that really boosted this up for me. I thought all the camera work, like just the crazy camera angles that they used at certain times, the positioning of the camera, like when they would position the camera inside the helmets, like pointed at their faces. The one that comes to mind is when Niki Lauda's right after his injury and he's putting the helmet on, you know, with the bandages and stuff. Like, I thought that looked incredible. And the other one was when it was in Tokyo and it was raining and they positioned the camera inside the helmet and they showed the drill coming in through the the visor thing. Like, I thought that was really good. And all of the race scenes looked pretty amazing. Could have done with more racing, actually.
Yeah, you would think for a film about racing, there would be more racing. But for me, I guess my lone drawback for me was the racing scenes weren't as energetic or as dynamic. I mean, it's kind of unfair. I shouldn't compare it to other films about racing, but I didn't get the adrenaline rush of what it would be feeling like to be in as Hunt calls a coffin that going 400 miles an hour. But because a lot of the shots, they kind of did look a bit CG-ish to me. But I mentioned in my review that Steve McQueen's Le Mans, it's a late 60s film, I believe, was shot at Le Mans with actual cars, actual in-car racing, and McQueen doing driving. And they got some amazing shots in there, and you knew it was real, and it had a documentary feel to it. And it didn't look like everything was set up, everything that went down was real. But in Rush, it felt like a lot of the angles for me felt like I was playing GTA from the overhead view. So, but I'm like, okay. And then apart from that, the focus was on the characters, which I think was the saving grace for me. So.
Yeah, I mean, I liked all the character stuff too. I mean, it was a pretty incredible rivalry, and just to see how these two men were they were like polar opposites from each other, you know, like personality wise, but on the track they were like almost equals. They were just both dominating the track, and so that was kind of interesting to see how that like fueled this rivalry. And I did like that. And I thought Chris Hemsworth, like him as an actor, I don't think he's really had the roles that he can really prove himself as like an A-list actor. But I think that this is definitely a step in the right direction for him. I think that
he'll need more stuff like this to break away from the Thor stigma.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like this role was, to me, was very similar to the Thor role. Like the way that he delivered his comedy,
his confidence and swagger.
Yeah, like To me, it was kind of similar to that, but I thought that they were all great. I love Olivia Wilde, so even though she wasn't in very much of this, I thought she did a pretty solid job.
Yeah. I thought the other wife, I can't
Hmm.
remember her name. I thought she was really good. Then again, she had more to do, but I thought she was really good.
Yeah, she was
And
she was good.
I think Daniel Bruhl is the one who steals the movie.
Yeah, he was great, but to me, it seems like maybe it was a little bit more about him than the James Hunt character. But
Mhm.
I don't know. One of the things there were a couple things I didn't like about this movie. Maybe you agree with some of the stuff, but the narration just
Yeah,
did not
yeah.
like
The
that. On
I didn't mind the narration, but it was the one narration that Peter Hunt or what was James Hunt gives. Is that
hmm
his name?
Yeah,
James Hunt.
James Hunt.
It's like saying, "Yeah, this is I'm James Hunt." I'm like, wait, is it the dual narrations going here? And then he never narrates again.
Well, that's the
At
thing.
least I don't think he
No, he
does.
doesn't.
So
There's
it kind of got confusing because you're thinking uh, Louder was the one telling the story. Then wait, they're both telling their stories.
Yeah, it was.
So
I don't understand that. It was really inconsistent. There was like maybe 3 times that they did narration in the film, so it wasn't like that was something that they were doing throughout the movie.
mhm.
And I don't see why it's necessary. Like I didn't see what that added to the movie. It just felt extraneous to me, and I don't know why that was included, but we've talked about it before on the show. I think the
Mhm.
narration most of the time I do not like it in movies because it feels lazy to me.
Mhm. It's kind of a very blunt form of foreshadowing because if you like sit there and if you've seen so many movies and you think of the cliches and whatnot, and you think it's like, oh, he's doing a narration at the beginning of the movie, and they're talking about it's like, so obviously he's the one telling the story, so something happened.
Yeah, I just didn't, and it wasn't even good in this though. Like, I mean, like you said, he's like, "I'm James Hunt." Like, it just was not good narration. Didn't add anything. If anything, it detracted from it. It made it seem way more like just overly sympathetic and kind of sappy. But speaking of sappy, there was at least 3 times that I thought that this movie was over and it continued. Like there was after one race, I was like, "Oh, okay, well that's a pretty decent place to end it off." And then they picked it up
Was that
again. There was a
was that
whole
the season finale,
yeah.
the final race?
Well, it wasn't the Tokyo race. It was the one before that when
Oh,
he first came back and got
oh,
like that. I was
yeah.
like, oh, okay, they're gonna maybe have one little scene to wrap it up and like end it on a high note with him coming back,
Mhm.
getting back in it. But no, they didn't end it there. Then they had the Tokyo race, which I thought was the best race in the entire movie. Like
Mhm.
that one looked awesome. How when they did like the slow motion in the rain. I know
Yeah.
that shot has been done to death, but I still think it looks great.
Mhm.
And with like the overhead shot with like the umbrellas and stuff, and just all the during the race, the stuff that was from the perspective of inside their helmets, how they couldn't see anything, and I just thought that was crazy. Yeah, but so after the Tokyo race, thought it was over then, but no, there's this like maybe 5 minute scene that happens after that Tokyo race that
Mhm.
is just to me was horrible. Like that whole scene, that interaction between the two of them, I
Mhm.
thought it was terrible, and that really brought it down for me. Like you just got to add in this like overly sentimental, sappy, cheesy stuff in there,
Mhm.
but I didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't mind it so much, but it definitely felt like after the race that it was starting to after the final for me the final race it started to drag a little bit. So I'm like, oh, was this? There's a montage right after that, and I think it's like, was this Rocky 3?
Well, yeah, that was the thing.
I had the tiger.
That was the thing. Like after the race, you're like, oh, okay, well that's a really good place to end it. And then all of a sudden, there's a montage, and you're just like, wait a minute, what's going on here? We're like 2 hours in. We're gonna have a montage at the very end of the movie, because that montage makes you feel like that montage should have taken place when he first started winning. You know what I mean? Like when he first got big and famous. That's what it felt like. Not at the end of the movie. I don't know.
Right.
It felt really weird. But again, that wasn't really enough for me to dislike the movie in any way. Like I said, I'd still give it an 8 out of 10. I still liked it a lot. I did like when they did show the racing stuff. I felt like they used that one shot of the camera when it was in the grass and the cars were zooming past it, and then they showed like the grass. They used that shot like 5 times. I thought that was a little too much, but just a lot of nitpicks, really.
Yeah, still decent for a racing movie, but I still recommend seeing like Le Mans or James Garner and Grand Prix. So,
Yeah, see,
more so than Days of Thunder. So I know that'll upset people, but
I haven't seen Days of Thunder. I haven't seen...
Really?
No.
Wow.
Nope. I'm just not, generally not big on racing movies. I like chase movies. Like
Speed Racer?
No, actually, yes, I did see Speed Racer, and I thought it was horrible. I didn't see it in the theater, thank God. But
that's kind of a guilty pleasure for me. So.
Yeah, I just did not like Speed Racer. Wasn't buying it. But I like car chase movies. Like one of my favorite movies, probably in my, I don't know, top 20 is Vanishing Point, the original Vanishing Point, which I think is incredible, just because it's a story about a dude that takes a bunch of speed and drives as fast as he can across the country, and that's it. Like, that's the plot. And I love it because there's like no rhyme or reason for it. He just does it.
Yeah. So,
any final thoughts on Rush? I don't think we need to bother with any kind of spoilers or anything.
No, not really. It was a decent sports drama, sports biopic. I don't think it's going to see much attention come Oscar time.
No, I don't think it's going to see any attention.
But overall, it's not a bad 2 hours.
Then again, I read something recently that said that they were actually thinking about upping the Best Picture nominees to 20.
Wow.
I don't know if that's really going to happen, but if they have 20 Best Picture nominees, I'm just not going to watch the Oscars anymore.
It's like, okay, the first hour, we're just going to be showing clips from the 2090s.
I mean, come on. I think 10 is too much.
Yeah, 10's enough. I mean, that's what the British Academy does. And that's what AFI does. They nominate their 10, then they pick the one.
Well, I think what they should do, rather than trying to... Because, what was it, last year? Was it 10 last year? I
think last year, was 9.
Yeah, I think it was 9 last year. I think that what they should do is have a limit of 10, but if there are none that are worthy of being nominated, then don't force it, you know what I mean? Don't put in some movie that's not worthy of it just to get that 10. Because it's just a waste of everybody's time. Because it's not going to win anyway.
Yeah,
did anybody
But at least the people who made us like, hey, we were nominated for Best Picture.
That's true. Like, did anybody actually think Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close was going to win and not Best Picture? I don't think so.
Probably not, but that definitely seemed like an Oscar movie. So,
yeah. Well, I think that'll wrap up the Rush review. You gave it a 7.5? Is that what you gave it, or a 7?
Yeah, 7.5.
7.5. I'm gonna stick with my 8. So go see Rush. It's in theaters now. Let's move on and talk about some predictions. Last week, Kevin and I predicted Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. He said 70. He said 74. I said 70. Actual 58. I'm gonna check that out today. See how it is. I really like the first one. So
I actually never saw the first one until I saw it on a plane.
I thought it was hilarious. The first one.
It was cute.
Rush. Kevin said 80, I said 76, actual 87. And Don Jon, Kevin said 77, I said 82, actual 81. So pretty good weekend, really.
Yep.
Next week we have Gravity, Alfonso Cuarón's Gravity. This one's going to be huge.
This is like one of the movies I've been dying to see as soon as I read the synopsis.
This one's on my most anticipated of the year list, so...
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
I've seen trailers. I'm trying to get over excited about it, but I'm like, When I saw Prisoners this weekend or last week, whenever that opened, 2 weeks ago, I guess. Gravity was on the trail. The last theatrical trailer for Gravity was on there, and you know this movie is going to be big when the trailer ends, you hear nervous laughter.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's gonna be this is gonna be big.
Yeah, they had that same trailer when I saw Prisoners as well. So yeah.
And,
What are you thinking on Gravity?
I will go. It's Quaron and Bullock and Clooney, so I'm gonna go 87.
I am gonna say 93. I think it's
Two.
gonna be. I think it's gonna be a big hit. Then we have Runner Runner, which I don't think is gonna be a big hit at all.
This is the first post Affleck Batman announcement movie.
I'm gonna say 40 on Runner Runner, and I think that's generous.
Yeah, that is generous. I was gonna go like 35.
That doesn't appeal to me whatsoever.
I mean, I don't even. What was Timberlake's last movie?
I think it was that. It was In Time. Was it that?
Maybe
That
I don't even
sci-fi
remember.
one. I think that might have been his last one. He's gonna be.
Yeah, I didn't even see that one.
I didn't either. He's gonna be inside Llewyn Davis. He looks good in that.
Hmm.
I don't
Cool.
think the fact that Justin Timberlake's in Runner Runner is gonna bring it down. I think that it just looks like a bad movie.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything special. It looks like a January, February release.
It does. Yeah, it does. The only other one we have is ACOD. I think that's getting a wide release. That's the comedy with Adam Scott, Adult Children of Divorce. What are you thinking on this one?
Hmm.
If it helps
Yeah.
your prediction, I heard pretty good things out of where did it? I can't remember where that premiered. It premiered at a festival. I don't know if it was Cannes.
Hmm. No, I'll go 50.
I'll say 62 on ACOD. And then in limited release, next week we have Parkland, which is the JFK assassination one. I was mildly interested in that. The fact that it didn't get any kind of like big release has me questioning it.
Hmm.
Because a movie like that, you would think that it would be getting a big release unless it was not very good.
Yeah, and also surprising that they wouldn't be releasing it in November
Yeah.
to tie in with the 50th anniversary.
I don't know. Maybe it's limited next week and then it's going to go wide later or something. Then we have Bad Milo. This is the comedy with Ken Marino about the ass demon. I did get a chance.
Ass Demon.
Yeah, ass demon. Yep. I did get a chance to see this, so we might have a review up for that. Argento's Dracula, which looks incredibly horrible. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for this.
No, I haven't.
Oh my goodness. I'm a fan of like older Argento stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
Deep Red is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, but this looks pretty rough.
I can't
And
remember.
go
There
ahead.
was one I can't remember the name of it, but the killer turned out to be a midget, and I just started laughing. So
I don't think
I
I've
can't
seen
remember the
that.
name of it. It was one of the recent ones in the last 10 years or so. But yeah, I was revealed, the whole movie lost me.
Yeah, I don't know. His newer stuff's been rough. It's been real rough. I've seen a few of his newer things, but and then finally we have The Dirties, which is one that I highly recommend. This is one that we've been kind of championing on the site from the beginning. Like,
Never heard of it.
definitely check this one out next week. It's also going to be on demand, so you have no excuse. We also interviewed the director of that movie, and he's really really cool. So we do want a lot of people to see this, and it's really good. So on
Cool.
video on demand next week, we have Best Man Down, which it looks not very good to me, but it could be interesting.
Not to be confused with the Best Man franchise.
Yeah, it's this is with Justin Long, I think, right? And it's Justin Long and the guy from Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and
Oh.
he like dies at their wedding or something. It's funny because when I saw the trailer, I didn't know anything about it, and it looked like it was just going to be kind of a goofy wedding comedy, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden it's like he's dead, and it gets this like really somber tone to it, and I was just like, oh, I don't know if I want to see that. Also, like I mentioned, The Dirties, Concussion, which I don't know too much about, but I've heard good things.
I'll have a review for that up next week, I believe.
Did you see it already?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was actually pretty good. I went in knowing nothing, and then like, oh, okay.
It's kind of is it about lesbians?
It's about lesbians, and something happens to one of them, and that drives them to decide to become a call girl.
Okay.
So
Also, we have Zero Charisma that comes out, I think, next Sunday. It's that one comes out at a weird time, but I am excited to see Zero Charisma. That was one that we tried to see in Austin, but we couldn't get out there because of the poor handicap transportation. We couldn't get a taxi. We waited an hour for a taxi to pick us up so that we could get out to the theater where that was playing in Austin, and no one came to get us.
lame.
Yeah, but finally coming out on video on demand. DVD and Blu Ray releases, we have The Croods, which I have no interest in at all.
It's kind of cute, but for a family movie.
Yeah, just not interested in that. The Frozen Ground, which is that John Cusack one. We also have Fright Night 2, which I don't know why this happened.
Yeah.
We also have This Is the End, which I definitely recommend that one. That was
Oh yeah, that's another one I finally saw. I completely forgot that one. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious as well, so highly recommend that. And finally, we have 21 Bloody Acres, which I also recommend. It's a horror comedy from, I want to say Australia. Pretty sure it's Australia, not New Zealand. I get the two of those mixed up from time to time, but I'm pretty sure it's Australian. If you haven't seen that one and you like horror comedies, it's really good. It's actually very funny. So,
Cool.
yeah. I think that will do it. For all the latest film news and reviews, visit us at filmpulse.net. Send us an email at feedback@filmpulse.net. Follow us on Twitter at filmpulse.net. And be sure to rate us on iTunes. We appreciate that very much. For filmpulse.net, my name is Adam.
And I'm Ernie.
And we will see you on Thursday for Ryan Watches Movie.